You opened the 14th, didn't you?
No, I had a soft opening on March 1st, and then I had a grand opening planned on March 14th, which actually happened to be my grand opening, grand closing, because I closed on March 14th due to COVID. We heard rumors from the mall that they were starting to shut down the airport, they were shutting down travel. We're like, oh, so the first thing we did was like send a social media note out to all our followers saying, hey, we are going to take precautions, but it just became bigger and bigger, and then we just saw the total shutdown of the state.
Everything shut down, and everyone is in this state of confusion and panic, like what's gonna happen with all these businesses? So we shut down 14 days after opening that Ridgedale location, but we never really stopped working on the business.
One of our saving graces was our online partnership with Goldbelly, because people were starting to buy stuff online, and we saw our online orders take off, and we started following the lead of a lot of our peers, and we started doing curbside pickup.
Straight off the mixer, onto the pan.
We took the food truck out to neighborhoods as if I was like a miniature or a very large ice cream truck. So we loaded up with cookies and drive around neighborhoods.
Good morning, Cheers Cookie fans.
Part of COVID too, I wanted to tighten up my social media presence. And so I hired a social media manager to help me kind of like have a cohesive message on social media, both on Instagram and Facebook. And he had a really good contacts with Instagram influencers. And so we invited them to an event where we gave them cookie dough and asked for their feedback and said, hey, take this cookie dough, bake it, let us know what you think of it. And they pretty much gave us some really good feedback. We lost Carlo in August 8th. I remember clearly because it was a Saturday, and I was running around in the kitchen. We're making deliveries to Ridgedale, and Luke actually was supposed to make that delivery, but we got a phone call that morning saying that my brother had collapsed and he was having a seizure, and that's how we knew. As we were gathering up all our stuff to go to the hospital or meet my parents, we got the call that he didn't make it. And I think that will be a day that I will never forget. I think in order to get through that kind of grief, I knew that Carlo really was a supporter of the business, and he'd be the first person to tell me something was a shitty idea. And so for me, in order to get through that grief, the best way to honor him was to keep working. To take this idea of a frozen cookie dough puck and bring it to life, because it was something that he and I had bantered about. It's a consumer packaged good. That's what CPG stands for. Basically, it's a product that consumers see in a package. I wanted the packaging to say and feel premium. It has my story on it, which was part of our plan, but then people said, you need to be on the package. So here I am. I reached out to a cartoonist. I'm like, hey, can you make a cartoon image of me? And she did. That's the funniest thing ever, right? It does look like me. And we are a certified women-owned and minority-owned business. The first steps was giving them a heads up that this was my plan, was to, hey, by the way, I'm interested in going into grocery stores. And they said, okay, that's great. And so I gave them a forecasted estimate of a couple hundred cases. And so I gave them a rough idea of how many I wanted to make. I bought the bags, sent out some cold call emails to a bunch of grocery store buyers. And then I also launched it in social media saying, hey, look, I'm putting together this CPG package. What grocery store should I be in? And lo and behold, a couple of the people who are responsible for buying this kind of product in their store reached out to me and said, I would love to have your product in my store. Now we're in all of the Hy-Vees in the metro area, as well as all the Kowalskis. Brand upkeep to me means making sure that the product looks good on the shelf, and make sure that we're thinking what's next. Like, okay, we have 3 of these flavors. Do we want to expand to more SKUs? Do we want to move into different parts of the store?
You know, what's the future going to look like for us? Or what other products are we going to release?
Do we want to have a baking mix in the baking section of the store? So is that the next step? So it's trying to think outside of what we're doing now and always trying to look forward into what's next. So from a mental capacity standpoint, it's a lot more than actually handling a brick and mortar.